are talking about a new study that shows the percentage of Americans who identify as Christian is declining, and the number of adults in this country who do not identify with any religion is growing. But I was interested in hearing particularly from young adults, and I sent a couple of my producers out with one specific question.
What role does organized religion play in your life?
What role does organized religion play in your life?
What role does organized religion play in your life?
It plays a role in every part of my life, like who I am, what I say, how I dress.
Not much at all.
Organized religion actually helps me with moral support. It shows me right from wrong. When I'm tempted to do wrong, it helps me do right.
It doesn't play a role at all.
I'm pretty open with it. I wouldn't say I'm super religious, but I definitely believe.
Organized religion doesn't play that much of a role in my life anymore, but it has set the basis for who I am.
I'm not religious, I'm not an atheist, I'm just, whatever.
I only went to church one time, and it was a date. The girl wanted to meet me up in the church.
I consider myself atheist. I think just trying to be a nice person and nice to other people should be enough, and it's certainly enough for me.
I think the problem isn't so much the role that it plays in our life or the role that it's not filling. I think that a lot of people feel as if organized religion doesn't take the time to address what's concerning people now.
I think that a lot of the pillars that religions are built upon, our generation doesn't agree with.
For me personally, I feel like the more I stepped away from organized religion, the more I was at peace with myself.
Organized religion, institutionalized religion, just represents division, divisiveness.
Oh, you won't let you in on that.
Yes, I think, of course, what we see from the survey of the millennials on the street is precisely the point that I was trying to address, that it's organized religion, institutionalized religion, in as much as they don't see these religious institutions responding to the questions and concerns that they have in the way they live their lives. They tend to live in more pluralistic settings. And so they talk about organized religion being divisive, etc. And so I think that there is a difference between organized religion and some of the millennials describe themselves as spiritual but not religious. Mm-hmm. And so they're rejecting institutionalized religion. But I also like to piggyback upon something that Reverend Cruz said in terms of the Black church and populations of color in relationship to the church and organized religion. You see the church playing a different role in the lives of people who find themselves socially, politically, culturally marginalized. And so it has to be that institution which picks up where other social institutions do not. And so whether or not for instance, a Black person may say, I'm not churched, yet in times of crisis, it is the church that they turn to, again, the church that steps in, as we see is the case in Baltimore.
Yeah, I will say that, I love that package that my producers went out and did. Of course, they're doing it right here in New York. And I live in North Carolina. And if you go out and ask those same questions in North Carolina, you're going to get a very, very different set of answers, even from young people, and especially from young people of color, some of whom are on their dates, as we heard there, right? Because it's part of where you go to find and making a family, right? But it's also because it's playing these multiple additional roles.
What do people mean by unaffiliated also? Because you have to nuance the question. If you ask people in my congregation, do they believe in institutional religion? They say no, 90% of them, but they're at church because they're looking at the church not as an institution, as a family. Union Theological Seminary has a lot of unaffiliated, non-believing people in a seminary. So what does that actually mean? It's a way of people distancing themselves from the corrupt aspects or the aspects of religion that don't work for them.
And yet I also wonder about the ways in which, when it is an actual institution, how institutional change can also shift. So again, as I was saying, my husband's Catholic, my daughter's Catholic, and this particular pope, this particular papacy makes me think, I wonder if I would have a willingness to move towards that tradition, because in an institution, any part of institutional change can feel so compelling.
One thing about Pope Francis is he talks about his image of church. Listen to this. He wants a church that's dirty, bruised, and broken because it's been out on the streets ministering, rather than a church that's closed in on itself on small-minded rules. That's not the church that young people see, quite honestly. If you ask a young Catholic to close their eyes and imagine church, they imagine their priest their bishop. They don't imagine themselves. Young people don't imagine themselves within the church. That should be the reality that the Catholic Church should lead with.